Hi, today's video is going to be about a Harvard and Yale professor I really know, and the origination of the coronavirus in China, the real origination. I hope this video turns out okay. I'm going to try to document it, and I've never done this before. This is new technology to me. I'm learning as I go. So, origination of the coronavirus. And every day I'm going to do another video on somebody I really know and their effect on my life. And starting tomorrow, I'll start with the earliest days I can remember in my life. And I'll show documentation and pictures so people can be aware of the connections in my life and how they've used me all my life. Hi, Isabel. I hope this video goes well. I'm using new technology I'm not used to using, and I'm doing this by myself. So this is the coronavirus. I'm going to go to my Facebook page and try to document this. Now, back in January 28th, in a story, a Harvard professor charged with hiding China ties and payments. And I actually know professors at Harvard and Yale, and they make books about me. And people call me crazy and say I'm a liar. And I'm going to document these things so people know I'm not lying. And I posted this January 28th before anybody in America knew about the coronavirus. And I brought it to the attention of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and my friend Amy Crystal Screws, Greg Bowe, Sean Heath, and Dan Badandi of InfoWars. Dan Badandi was an InfoWars reporter with Alex Jones, and Alex Jones lived next door to me in Greenville, Tennessee, and went to kindergarten class with me a long time ago. This is Harvard professor charged with hiding China ties and payments. And then when you go to the story, which is here, and I'll read it to you, and this is from ABC News, January 28th at 1:44 p.m. It's a 4-minute read, and this is where I shared it on Facebook. And a Harvard University professor accused of concealing payments he received from the Chinese government for research remains in federal custody after a brief court appearance. And this is 2 days before they announced the coronavirus to you. And this was the headlines. Catch up on the developing stories making headlines, the Associated Press. Now, this was Boston Harvard University professor, and he also is a professor at Yale, was charged Tuesday with lying about his ties to a Chinese-run recruitment program and concealing payments he received from the Chinese government for research. Charles Lieber, chair of the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology. Now get this, chemistry and chemical biology. The coronavirus is the SARS virus with 4 amino acids changed, and Charles Lieber is most likely the chemist and the chemical biological professor who did that. He is accused of hiding his involvement in China's Thousand Talents program, a program designed to lure people with knowledge of foreign technology and intellectual property to China. And Lieber was arrested early Tuesday at his office at the Ivy League University. He remained in federal custody after a brief court appearance Tuesday, pending a detention hearing scheduled for Thursday. A message seeking comment was left Tuesday with his attorney. Authorities also announced charges against a researcher at Boston University who was accused of lying about his ties to the Chinese military. Yang Qing Yi, who prosecutors say is a lieutenant in the People's Liberation Army, did work on behalf of the military while studying at the university, such as conducting research and sending documents and information to China. There was no attorney listed in court documents for Yi, who is now in China. Now, I went to Catholic school with Judy Yi for approximately 12 years of my life, and she was a good friend of mine. U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling called the charges a small sample of Chinese ongoing campaign to siphon off America's technology know-how for its country's gain. Now, how creating a coronavirus is China's gain is beyond me. But no country poses a greater, more severe or long-term threat to our national security and economic prosperity than China, said Boston FBI agent Joseph Bonavolenta. China's government, its goal, simply put, is to replace the U.S. as the world's superpower, and they're breaking the law to get there. He said, well, so is the USA, and professors who run the Electoral College. That's why you can have people put on the ballot who don't have a birth certificate like Obama, or have a man guilty of sodomy put on the presidential ballot like Peter Buttigieg. Now, continuing this article, under Lieber's 1,000 Talents program contract, prosecutors say he was paid $50,000 a month by Wuhan University. Now, Wuhan is where the virus broke out, and this is not coincidence. And this is days before they told you about the coronavirus that's now killed over 1,000 people and is affecting 15 countries around the world. And you have whole ships quarantined, cruise ships, and 1,000 people are dead in China. You have the first death in the free world, and it's going to grow. And to put it in perspective, the flu kills about 40,000 people a year. In a year's time, this virus has killed 1,000 in the first week. So he was also awarded more than $1.5 million to establish a research lab at the Chinese university. So he was working at Harvard, at Yale, and at the Chinese university, Lieber. They placed him on administrative leave. Okay, so I think you can accredit these coronavirus to Harvard professors and Yale professors who run the Electoral College and created this virus for payola after Trump signed his new trade agreement. And I keep saying in my videos, this whole country is run on payola from Russia and payola from China. Nobody ever listens to me, and people need to start listening to me. I'm not a pipe dream, and everything I say, I can back it up with real documents. And I'm the son of the presidents on your money, and I live with the family that is the Turtle tribe in the Dakotas, whose property is Mount Rushmore, and I'm related to all the presidents on Mount Rushmore. And American media likes to tell people I'm crazy, and tell you that Jesse Ventura and Alex Jones, who hide me with Snowden and WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, a group of pedophiles, are the truth, and I'm a kid they kidnapped when I was 4. I'm crazy and a liar. And, I'm going to make a video a day about connections like this and real people I know. On with this article. Last month, a medical student from China, also charged in Boston, with trying to smuggle vials of research specimens in a sock in his suitcase, bound for who was in the U.S. on a visa sponsored by Harvard, is accused of stealing the materials from a lab at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. Well, he didn't steal them. Lieber, the college professor, made the vials and then got paid. He got $50,000 a month, and then another $1.5 million to make the virus. And then they had this kid come from China and take the vials from Mr. Lieber out of his Harvard schoolroom. And they're telling you that he stole them, and I'm telling you, no, that's part of the payola after Trump's signed the new trade agreement with China. Now, Zhang was held without bail by a judge who ruled he was a flight risk. Yeah, I bet there's already 1,000 people dead and 40,000 people sick because of his vials. from Harvard University. All of them were either directly or indirectly working for the Chinese government at our country's expense. Why at our country's expense? It's because we give our tax dollars to China and to the Ukraine and to Israel, and it's always at our expense, but they don't tell you that the payola comes from our own tax dollars through universities that run the Electoral College. I'm telling people truth, and I can back up every word I say, and I've lived this. I'm not a pipe dream. The case has underscored Justice Department concerns about Chinese programs that recruit scientists with access to cutting-edge technology in the U.S. and encourage them to conduct research for Beijing and even to steal the work of American academics. Well, nobody stole this work. They're trying to make you think that somebody stole this work, and this man was receiving payola right from Beijing, and the payola he was receiving is your own tax dollars through the new trade agreement. In recent years, according to the Senate subcommittee report, and I'd like to say that the Senate and the House are now telling you that China did this, and any fool can see why your Harvard professor, who is an American citizen, received payola from China to do this. Now, this whole article, it concludes the programs have been exploited by scientists who have downloaded sensitive research files before returning to China, filed patents based on U.S. research, lied on grant applications, and failed to disclose money they had received from the Chinese institution, payola. It's concluded the Associated Press, relying on hundreds of pages of documents obtained through public record requests, reported last year that the FBI had been reaching out to colleagues at universities across the country to warn them of the threat of economic espionage on their campuses. This is evident. You got a man groomed by the London Queen named Obama, who gave up his lawyer's degree, earned at my stolen trademark bottom line with his wife Michelle, who also had a lawyer's degree, earned at my stolen trademark bottom line, as they murdered two of my wives on the Manning Ranch. One was Terry Heath, who is Sarah Heath Palin's family member, and the other was Victoria Milan. And they were dismembered and murdered on my ranch as the country elected Obama twice. Excuse me. CBS helped them murder my wife and my attorney, who was hired to file murder charges with the Attorney General. And Barr was appointed by Trump, and Barr was my neighbor at 4 when I was kidnapped, and Oakland County child killers dumped bodies on my properties for 20 years, from 1957 until 1977, of murdered Oakland County kids. And my own family member, L. Brooks Patterson, working in the Oakland County Police Department, covered my truth up about the kids murdered next to me in a governor's basement. And they're still covering that up to this day through the Graham family's media. And these people are all Trump's best friends. He just gave Rush Limbaugh the highest Medal of Honor a civilian can get. And Rush Limbaugh sold the drugs to my own brother, Mark Mothersbaugh, who he died taking Rush Limbaugh's illegal drugs. That's why Rush Limbaugh was put in jail. Rush Limbaugh sells drugs to kids that kills them, and Trump gives them medals of honor, the highest medals of honor in the country, after he kills kids, and he does it because he's his friend, backing Trump. And Trump gives you Bob Bolton, who built airplanes with me when I was in my 18, 19, 20 years old in Oakland County, Michigan. And the Barr family, he gives you Bob Barr, Bolton, Miller. I bought a house for Miller. This is his Donald Trump's White House. And I'm telling you, they're all corrupt. Stone cut the bone illegally out of my foot as torture when I was 10 years old. Cut the bone out of my foot. And anybody can take an x-ray of my foot and see the bone is gone. And Dr. Stone did that. Stone ran Trump's political party to become president. I'm not a pipe dream, and I voted for Donald Trump myself because I was hoping that he would say the truth of my life and tell you the truth of 9/11 and John F. Kennedy's murder and Jimmy Hoffa's murder and the murder of the Oakland County child killers, but he hasn't. He did just the opposite. He is making the swamp 100 miles deeper instead of fixing the swamp. And people hate me for that, and I'm not against Trump. I voted for Trump myself because he said he was going to clean up the swamp. Well, the swamp evolves around my life, and I'm going to make one video a day and show my connection to the people in the White House and who kidnapped me and who still use me in media to this day. I'm going to concentrate on one person a day. So today's person is the Harvard University who wrote a book about me. And the same Harvard, they're professors at Harvard and Yale right now. And this particular man is my friend who showed up, and he teaches English in the Czech Republic, where Trump's wife is from. So it's possible he taught Donald Trump's wife how to speak English. And here's a video by that man who is his mother is a professor at Harvard and Yale, and his father is a professor at Harvard and Yale, and he teaches English from Harvard and Yale in the Czech Republic to private citizens who want to learn to speak English. And here's a video of him singing a song he wrote years ago. And remember, he's from Bedford, New York, a professor from Harvard, and he teaches English, and he is also a musician. He doesn't play on the radio, and he is my friend from Harvard. And here's his song in the Czech language. And he's an American. He wrote it in Czech, and he was born in Bedford, New York, where the people set my wife up to be murdered in Bedford, New York. The people that live next door to Timothy Leary, the man who created LSD. Bedford, New York. And here's the Bedford, New York musician who's a Harvard professor and wrote a book about me. His name is Chris. And he's wearing a bunny suit.
Może sam linii, tak jestem tłusty, ale jestem sexy, no to i jasny. Mam drobne cisło, a flapidania, nie zbieram hobby, aż tu na nie. Nie mam brat sirotu, ale mam brat kowolu. Nie mam brat sirotu, ale mam brat kowolu. A bez cukru Kol mam stary, w sklepie leży, no to jedno, porzach sem zdraví, radši kožím a papiežky, mám krásnou paru, to pěčkorovko, nemám rád přírodu, ale mám rád kopolu, nemám rád přírodu, ale mám rád kopolu, kopolu.
So you can see he's a very educated man. He's born in Bedford, New York, an American, and he works all over Europe. He takes train rides into communist countries, and he writes songs in the Czech Republic language, and he's written a book about me. And people tell me I'm crazy. And here's what the Yale and Harvard professor says about me in another video. And it's been up here on my timeline. And I'm gonna turn my volume up here. I don't know how this equipment works, and I don't know if anybody can hear this or not, but this video's freely available in my videos on Facebook, and just look for my Yale English professor from New York living in the Czech Republic made a video for everyone in the Czech Republic. And I believe he was in Prague at the time he made this video over 2 years ago, and it's part of his book about me. College professors at Yale don't believe I'm crazy or a liar. I don't know why all my Facebook friends keep saying that to people like Greg Bowe and Amy Crystal Screws and myself. Here is, I hope you can hear the song, Isabel. Can you hear the song? And I hope you can hear this video written by the same person who wrote the Coppola song, and Coppola is Coca-Cola. And my dispatcher ran Coca-Cola in Michigan, the main office in Michigan, the Coca-Cola office, and the dispatcher was my friend Mr. Murphy, as Stephen King was the filler who worked for me every morning, Stephen King. And here's the book that the same Yale professor and Harvard professor wrote for me, and this is the Estes family. Now, when I was a little kid, his cousin, Mr. Estes, who was Estes Truck Line, put a gun to the back of my head in my father's basement when I was 14 years old and attempted to murder me. He pulled the trigger on the gun misfired. I turned around, took the gun from him, beat him up, and threw him out of my house. And he did that at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. He had broken into my father's home. I returned to my bedroom, and he come out of the shadows of my bedroom and put a gun to my head. This same man wrote a book about me telling you I know the truth. And this isn't the man who put the gun to my head, but his uncle did. And that's Estes Truck Line, and they're professors at Harvard and Yale. Every word I say is truth. And people keep calling me a liar, and I'm getting tired of it. I'm trying to educate America and tell you what's really going on. I really am related to the people on your money. Jackson on your 20 is my ancestor. My mother's grandmother was with Lincoln and Ford Theater as Lincoln was shot. I think I know what I'm talking about. Here's the book by the Harvard Yale professor, Mr. Estes.
For what it's worth, my time on this earth is almost at its close. It was worth it. Goodbye. I need to direct your attention to one who knows. Now, you've seen the Matrix movie. It's groovy, it's fun. But what you don't understand is that the apocalypse is nigh, and it has come. So, if you want the blue, take it, you know what to do. If you want the red, the ride won't be jolly. You might wind up dead. The path to truth is folly. Really, really, I'm not lying. Look for Ryan. Drop your blues. His name is Hugh. The last name is Squier. What he sounds and says resounds. It's not crazy. Go through the looking glass. Look back. Remember Curse Black. The future is the past. All is one. The origin of love. Hand in glove. Go forward. Christian soldiers marching to the band. Listen to Hugh Squier. A man who understands. But just like the man Big Black once said to Neo, the chosen one, he chose him, and he called or for you. I'm only offering the truth. God bless all of you.
Now that's a Harvard professor telling you I'm truth. And he did that in a book years ago. And people on Facebook are telling me that I'm crazy. I'm not crazy, and I'm not lying. I really know these people. And I have a friend here, Greg Bowe, and that's Greg. He lives in Ohio. 4 dead in Ohio, marked to me. Crosby, Stills, and Nash bought Lionel trains next to my farm. But I'm going to do that in another video. Crosby family and Fat Albert and 4 dead in Ohio. Today's video was about the Estes family and Chris, a real Yale Harvard professor teaching English to the Czech Republic, who wrote a book about me and told you to listen. I'm the truth. And all my Facebook friends, instead of listening to my truth about my 4 dismembered, murdered wives, they ignore me. And videos that should be viral, that are the real history and the real truth of what's going on in your White House and Senate right now, today, you're ignoring me. And it saddens me deeply, because my family really are the presidents on your money, and my family, Thomas Jefferson, really authored the Declaration of Independence. And they marked me all over the globe so you would know truth in your lifetime, and you're laughing at truth. And I'm going to end this video here. Laugh at me all you want. It's not going to change the fact that all the people who run your TV media, people like Giorgio Tsoukalos standing with me, they really know me. I'm a publisher from New York. I own Bottom Line New York as a child. They're not telling you the truth of my story. And I don't know how to make it any clearer. I'm being hidden by all the media. All of the media all over America is hiding my truth of the Oakland County child killers, Jimmy Hoffa's burial place, JFK and his brother's murders, and even John John's murder, and my truth of 9/11. I am the truth of 9/11. And everybody's laughing at me. And one of you people out there who has a Harvard University professor writing books about them, you have a right to laugh at me. The rest of you, you're just being foolish. You're being very, very foolish, and you're not listening to real reality. I'm going to end this video here, and I'll have another video of someone else I know in my real life in the past 66 years. And everybody I know, my story about them is attached to murders of children the White House is covering up right now, today. Bye, God bless, and hope everybody has a good day.